Good morning, friends. I'm Gangadhara Rao, the founder and director of GR IAS Academy. Today we are beginning our Hindu newspaper session with respect to the mains exam point of view. We will be referring to the articles in Hindu newspaper and see how they can be useful in our mains answering, right? Now you can see that in Hindu paper you can see that in today's Hindu newspaper there is an article by the name "No More Hot Air About the Air Pollution." It is regarding air pollution. It is written by Binay Vishwam. He is a Rajya Sabha member of Parliament. So he wrote an article in today's Hindu newspaper, and let us see in what way it is relevant to our study. Okay. So the same topic, no more hot air about air pollution. No more hot air about air pollution. You can see that the air pollution is a menace today. It is a long-standing concern. For many years we have been discussing about this, and it continues to be a critical issue in India. In our country, this air pollution is very much a critical issue. With successive governments after governments are coming and going, they are making promises and declarations in their manifestos, but no one is able to solve it. Despite all these assurances, the situation remains dire, affecting the health and well-being of our country people, right? Now, the recent World Air Quality Report 2022, in the World Air Quality Report 2022, it reveals alarming statistics indicating that there is an urgent need for proactive measures to control this air pollution. We are supposed to take urgent measures to control this air pollution. Okay. Now, what are the challenges that we face in addressing air pollution? Let us see. From the point of view of controlling this air pollution, what challenges we face? First thing is that the promises which are made by these political parties before coming into the power, in their manifestos, they are not fulfilled. See, in 2014 and 2019 election manifestos, the present ruling BJP government has declared that it will be combating the air pollution, and there is a program by the name National Clean Air Program. It aims to reduce the pollution levels, but it has not delivered whatever promised results were there. So now the crisis is recognized globally throughout the world. They have recognized this problem. So this IQ Air's report highlights that 39 Indian cities, how many cities? 39 Indian cities are there in the world's top 50 most polluted cities. You can understand with this the severity of the crisis that we Indians as citizens are facing in our country with the air pollution. So it is recognized as the second largest risk factor for causing diseases in our country. Okay. Now, what are the health implications because of this air pollution? All of you know air pollution causes respiratory diseases like COPD and asthma, and they are on the rise because of this air pollution. Now they are contributing to significant disease burden. So life expectancy is automatically reduced, and we have to get these diseases treated, we lose a lot of money. So it results in economic losses. So World Economic Forum underlines this situation and the gravity. Okay. And then what are the government initiatives and what criticism is there upon them? Let us see. See the legislative amendments and environmental impact. See, nowadays for the sake of development, lot many legislative amendments are made to the environmental acts. Okay, lots many amendments are made, and because of that, the impact on the forests and biodiversity is not properly taken care of. For example, if you look at the Great Nicobar Development Plan or Central Vista, they are criticized a lot for their negative effects on our environment. And even National Clean Air Program, whatever program the government has planned, it was neglected. Despite the launch of this National Clean Air Program in the year 2019, the government is not very much interested in its effectively implementing this program. The program's failure is evident in the continued high levels of pollution in our major cities. See, you can see that how many cities are there in the world that are affected more by this air pollution. Out of 50, 39. So almost we can say that the whole of the world's air pollution is there with our country. Okay. Now, what's happening? Why we are not able to contain this air pollution? You can see that our development, whatever policies the governments are taking up, they are all mostly capital driven. They are mostly capitalist orientation. You can see that whatever developmental policies that the central government is undertaking, they are mostly of the capitalistic view. You can see that in Karl Marx's description of the government, he said that the government is nothing but the executive committee for managing the general affairs of the capitalists. So whatever accusation Karl Marx had made about the government, it is coming true. We are almost, our governments are functioning for the welfare of the capitalists, and for the sake, in the name of development and prioritizing profit, they are overlooking the environmental concerns. With that, the health of the citizens are getting compromised. And also the Central Vista project, if you have a look at it, see its environmental impact, including extensive tree loss and carbon emissions, that showcases the detrimental consequences of unchecked development. Because of the Central Vista, lot many trees are being cut off and the carbon emissions are more, and it is very much detrimental for the cleanliness of the air. Okay, so right. Then what is the way forward for us? How should we move forward with all these problems? First thing is that there must be a good discussion, a debate in the Parliament's winter session. In this coming, whatever, at present the Parliament winter session is on. So in that there must be a good discussion to control this air pollution crisis, because 39 cities out of 50 in the world, then it is very alarming. So you should acknowledge the crisis, the problem should be recognized, and then a collective action should be taken on a priority basis. You should take it up on a priority basis. And then successful practices, whatever were done earlier to control the air pollution, they must be repeated, they must be emulated. You should learn from the global practices worldwide, whatever practices were there. For example, wind path forests and India's social forestry model. Two models are already there as effectively controlling the air pollution, so they have to be taken. And prioritizing people's lives over government's profits. So people's lives are more important than the profits, okay, of the government or capitalists. So that should guide our policy decisions. So environmental concerns should never be compromised for the sake of profits of a few capitalist companies. Okay. And then for this, what should be done? See, the government instead of taking decisions unilaterally, it should convene an all-party meeting. Prime Minister should take the initiative. Being the leader of the House, he should take the initiative and he should convene an all-party meeting so that all parties can be, opinions can be taken, advices can be taken and how to address the air pollution. And then a collective agenda should be set so that safe air is endured, safe air is ensured, okay? And sustainable environment is crucial for any country, for the citizens of any country. Otherwise, people will be down with the diseases. So now we can conclude that the critical situation of air pollution demands immediate attention and collaborative efforts, because they are at the very alarming rates. Okay, so immediately it should be taken. Recognizing the failure of past promises. Earlier, whatever promises are made, they are not fulfilled, and the initiatives have also failed. So you should make it comprehensive and people-centric approach is needed. The government guided by global best practices, as just now we have discussed here. Best practices whatever taken up by the governments in various countries should be prioritized citizens' well-being. So health of the citizens should be prioritized first, and engage in meaningful dialogue to formulate the effective and sustainable action plan so that the air pollution can be controlled and environment is protected. Now, what can be the question for this in the mains? See, the question can come like this. A 10 marker I have selected here, about 150 words. See, it says, discuss the challenges and government initiatives in addressing air pollution in India. Examine the legislative and developmental aspects contributing to the environmental crisis. And then suggest effective strategies and the role of collaborative efforts, including an all-party meeting, in formulating a comprehensive action plan for combating air pollution. So this is about 150 words, 10 marker. Okay. So you know in which paper it will be? It will be in third paper, environment. Okay, GS3. It will be in GS3. Okay, it will be in GS3. Okay, right? So now we will go to the next. Coming to the second article for today, what is the controversy over Germany's debt brake rule? Let us see. This is also another article that came in today's Hindu newspaper. This is the heading. What is the controversy over Germany's debt brake rule? It is written by Garmella Subramaniam. You can say Germany's constitutional court on November 15 ruled unlawful a government move to reallocate 60 billion unused for the sums initially earmarked for the pandemic emergency to a climate transformation fund. So regarding that, let us see what are the details about that. Okay, what are the details about that in our article. So what is the controversy over Germany's debt brake rule? See, this has been at the center of the controversy, Germany's debt brake rule, with the constitutional court ruling against the government's reallocation of funds initially earmarked for a pandemic to a climate fund. This we can have directly taken from the newspaper. Okay, this move has raised questions about the fiscal responsibility. It has raised questions about the fiscal responsibility and adherence to the debt brake rule, leading to tensions with Chancellor Olaf Scholz's coalition government. Okay, lot many controversies have appeared with regard to this. Let us see what is the controversy. In 2023, November 15, 2023, there is a ruling by the Karl's court, okay, regarding the Germany's debt brake rule. This constitutional court on November 15th, it has declared the government's reallocation of 60 billion euros from pandemic funds to the climate transformation fund as unlawful. Okay, initially it was for the pandemic funds, but then they tried to change it to the climate and transformation fund. So the court has declared it as unlawful. The breach of fiscal deficit limits included channeling underutilized allocations between sectors and rolling over debt from one fiscal year to the next. Okay, so regarding this, a lot of controversy arose. Now, what is the impact of this ruling on the coalition government? You know, in Germany there is a coalition government. So, what would be the effect on the coalition government? Chancellor Olaf Scholz's coalition government, led by the center-left Social Democrats (SPD), it faces internal divisions over budgetary decisions. Whatever budgetary decisions are there, regarding that there is a lot of disagreements. Divisions means disagreements. Okay, so divergent views means people had different versions for that within the SPD, within that party, and the budget break rule, and it led to increased tension within the coalition. It is not between the different parties, within SPD itself, within the ruling Social Democrats. Okay, within that there is a disagreement. Now there is a debt break rule. There is a debt break rule. Let us see what it is. So, what is the definition and what is the purpose? See, debt break rule. It is also known as the balanced budget rule. It imposes a cap on government borrowing for public projects. Cap means limit. So, it limits the government's borrowing for public projects. It is known as balanced budget rule or debt break rule. It was done in 2009, and it limits the federal government's fiscal deficit to 0.35% of the GDP. Okay, and prohibits deficit spending by Germany's 16 regions. Totally 16 regions are there in Germany, and it limits it to 0.35% the fiscal deficit to GDP. Okay, now the origin of this and legal framework of this debt break rule, if you try to look at it, it was introduced in the year, as told, it is 2009 by the Grand Coalition government, the government which was there at the time, including the Christian Democratic Union (CDU), Christian Social Union (CSU), and the SPD. Even SPD was part of that government at that time. Okay, analogous to the borrowing and spending curbs means limitations. Similar to that, the European Union Stability and Growth Pact and the Fiscal Compact Treaty. So it is like that. Which one? This debt break rule or balanced budget rule. It was similar to that of, analogous means similar. Okay, for the European Union's curbing rules, and then Fiscal Compact Treaty, etc. Now let us see further. So what is the legal challenge? What are the arguments for this? Let us see. Now, dispute background is that up now CDU and CSU are in the opposition. They are in the opposition. They challenged the government's use of pandemic funds for climate change and energy transition. So they are not in tune with the government, the opposition parties. Christian and Democratic Union, Christian Social Union, they are against it. Okay. Now let us see further. What is the contention? Why they are opposing it? They say that these long-term investments should not be funded under the emergency exemption of the debt break meant for COVID-19 relief. Okay, so whatever amounts were mentioned for COVID-19 relief, the COVID pandemic, they should not be spent for the other purposes. So, what is the argument from the government side? What it is saying? It says that the diverted funds address the economic consequences of the pandemic. It is not that we are totally diverting it from the pandemic. Whatever economic consequences have happened because of the pandemic, those problems are being addressed by these funds, linking the investment shortfall to COVID-19 economic impact. Whatever shortfall is there in the investment, the government tried to link it to the economic impact caused by COVID-19, the pandemic. So that's how the government tried to defend it. Now, if you try to look at the country, Germany's post-2009 fiscal performance, there is a mixed record. Germany's export-driven economy. The economy is mostly export driven, and it witnessed growth and budget surpluses in the last 10 years. Okay, and it was supported by low interest rates and employment levels. The rate of interest was also very less, so a lot of growth was there, budget surpluses were also there, and a lot of exports are also happened. However, in the year 2019, criticisms arose. They say that the economy is mostly export driven. And the infrastructure, there is lot of under investment. You are not investing as much as required for the infrastructure development. So and they advocated for the expansionary fiscal measures. Now in 2020, debt brake suspension in response to the pandemic. So because of COVID-19 pandemic, Germany also responded. It suspended the debt brake rule in 2020. So whatever rule was made earlier in 2009, that was broken in 2020, and it allowed record borrowing for pandemic measures. Okay, it allowed record borrowing for pandemic measures. However, again that was reinstated in the year 2021 after the decrease of COVID pandemic. Okay, now let us see further. Conclusion. The Karlsruhe verdict, the court verdict, intensified debates. Okay, the debates for and against that, and about Germany's fiscal rectitude, and it remains uncertain whether Berlin will adjust its stance amid discussions on new European Union proposals for customized debt and deficit rules. So under this discussion, we have to see whether the government of Germany government will readjust itself. The tension within the coalition government, not only coalition government, within SPD also, adds complexity to the ongoing fiscal discourse. Discourse means discussion in Germany. Now the question, again, it is also of GS3. It is also of GS3. Now discuss the controversy surrounding Germany's debt brake rule and its implications. Examine the legal and fiscal aspects of this court ruling and analyze how the tension within the coalition government reflects broader debates on fiscal policies in Germany. Okay, so in GS3 economy part, this question will come. So this is a 10 marker, 150 words. Okay, so every day, my friends, we will be discussing 2 questions with respect to mains paper. Okay.